My previous video was an alternate costume for each duelist and rivals. Keeping up with the theme for each class, I'll be talking about an alternate skin I want for each Vanguard or tank in the game. We'll also be going through them by the order they're in the selection screen. The first is Captain America.
Freedom's an idea that will never die.
A skin I'd want for him is an alternate storyline from when he fought in the Civil War. During the Civil War, Steve Rogers was part of Bucky's squad tasked with raiding a village, but because he thought this wasn't right and tried to help some of the kids against Bucky and the other soldiers, he was shot and accidentally entangled by the horses dragging him. He'd have visions of an eagle spirit and awoken to being treated by Sam Wilson and other doctors. Turns out, Sam was raised by Native American healers and used the eagle spirit to heal Steve and grant him his abilities. He's got this really cool Native American based outfit over his uniform, with the feathers and shield. When he throws a shield, it also has this glow of an eagle that comes out of it.
Open your eyes. Reality is but an illusion.
Zombie Strange from Multiverse of Madness has been released, and another supernatural themed costume I'd want for him is Vampire Strange, which can tie into the Eternal Night event for Season 1 since it's directly based off the Blood Hunt events of the comics. In Rivals, Strange's soul left his body because of Dracula, but in the Blood Hunt comics, his soul left his body because he got turned into a vampire by Blade. I'd really like this outfit because you don't have to really change anything, but you can notice a big difference, such as an aura around him for example, and whenever he moves, it should leave a red trail for his glowing red eyes. You can also have him as his 616 comic appearance or as his Rivals appearance, being afflicted with vampirism. And just like how Black Panther has an emote of him eating an organ when he was a vampire, you can have an emote where Vampire Strange is acting feral.
Science solves problems.
It was actually a bit difficult to find another skin for Hulk. I didn't just want to go the obvious route like Joe Fixit, who was already in Season 2, with a Sandevistan, or Red Hulk, or Maestro, and I think I found a good couple of contenders for it. First is Starship Hulk. I think this is a pretty good choice because it's not known as much as the others. The design looks really well made by Ryan Ottley, and there's considering his monster mode. The character Titan Hulk is pretty much how Hulk is to Bruce Banner, so a monster Hulk could be Titan Hulk. The second I pick is his war costume from when he became a horseman for Apocalypse. There should be a theme of heroes and villains becoming horsemen for Apocalypse, really. They always have the coolest designs like Polaris and Gambit did. I think this costume is a perfect option because of his little details, like how his mask doesn't completely cover his face and leaves the side of his mouth exposed. He's got this really cool design that matches with the theme of when other characters become horsemen. A very dark, edgy, dangerous design. I definitely choose this. A third I pick is going to be going along with the theme of Rivals' 2099 stuff they got going on, like how Cap woke up in 2099, Luna Snow's alternate skin from that year along with Spider-Punk. So of course we'd be going with Hulk 2099. This is certainly a weird one because his body shape is so drastically different from the Hulk's body. Digitigrade legs, thinner waist. He looks like a typical 90s Image Comics character. This is a different character being John Eisenhart, who was a movie producer, wanting to make a movie about the Knights of Banner. It was actually a cult that worshipped the Hulk that we know. He was exposed to gamma radiation by them after finding out they were experimenting with it on people. I think this would be a great costume because 2099 Hulk isn't as well known as the other 2099 variants, like Spider-Man 2099. And the year 2099 is very important for Rivals because it plays into the lore, like Krakoa being launched forward in that time, and of course, Doctor Doom 2099 with Rivals happening even because of them.
Be wary. No timeline exists where Magneto yields.
A costume I got is his Horseman of Peace design. No, he didn't become a Horseman for Apocalypse like Gambit or Polaris, even though that'd be cool. The Horsemen of Salvation are an inversion to the Horsemen of Apocalypse. He's got that Gandalf look, which I think is a nice coincidence since his actor Ian McKellen played Gandalf. I think this design is a great alternative compared to the typical color swaps.
We are Venom. You are insignificant.
I got the recent lingering imprint costume for Venom, which is just Agent Venom, which I really like. And I really do want to get the Space Knight version because it just goes so hard. Also, of course, the Phantom Venom too. I think a good costume for him, especially because of the ties to Null's story in Rivals, is when he gained the power of the Enigma Force. During his fight with Null, he combines Silver Surfer's sword and throws Mjolnir, creating a battle axe. This design has that trope of when a character reaches a cosmic level, the shadows in their designs become like stars, which is a great touch. But this costume I think would be insane to have. There's kind of a theme where just changing his colors gives you a different version. Like his blue skin is based off his Marvel vs. Capcom appearance, and his white skin is just anti-Venom. For this, I want to include Ultimate Venom. This version of Venom isn't an alien but an artificial experiment. Here, it's just a purple goop with no spider symbol, which I think would be a nice color change while also not being a straight up recolor.
I am Groot.
You know we're gonna go for a Space Knight design, when the Venom symbiotes are taking over the Guardians and it bonded with Groot. I love how these symbiotes amplify, add on, and exaggerate characteristics of the host. It gave Groot these mushroom-like growths that do grow on trees, and of course since he's a plant, it gave him that Venus flytrap design for the head. It could also add on to his attacks with the walls he grows, being covered with teeth, which is a common design trope for Venom.
Who needs four when you've got one like me?
A great skin for Thing is his form called Angrier, Breaker of Souls. When he was possessed by the Serpent's Hammer, he made pretty quick work of the Red Hulk in the Avengers until Thor showed up. I really like the drastic change in design because usually when it comes to different forms and rivals, they don't really change the body as much as the clothing. Of course we can't have the hammer, but the overall design itself would look fantastic.
I'm here to finish the fight that my father began. I hope I make him proud.
We're obviously going to go for her Spiderverse appearance. The design for Spider in the comics and in Rivals are very similar, so I thought that Spiderverse would be a great option because there's a lot of versatility in Spider's design. It's a very recognizable silhouette, and with just a simple sphere and limbs, the design has a lot of range, and the fact that many Rivals fans absolutely love Spider-Verse like myself, and Spider-Verse was one of the first introductions I had to Penny. Also, did you know that Penny was created by Gerard Way?
I am the god of thunder and the mightiest avenger.
I've always had a problem with Hulk snapping the gauntlets in Endgame and not Thor, because it would have been the perfect opportunity for so many things, but that's a whole different video. In short, Thor should have snapped and he would have looked similar to when he was unworthy of Mjolnir. For a short period of time in Marvel, Thor became unworthy of holding Mjolnir, and so he got this really cool battle axe, and after he lost his arm, he got this really cool metal prosthetic arm made of black uru. Uru is one of the weird metals in Marvel like adamantium and vibranium, but it's on another level. Unworthy Thor would have been a perfect skin for Thor, along with changing Mjolnir to like a battle axe or something.
The higher the pressure, the more dazzling the diamond.
Oh my beautiful white queen. Emma's costumes have always gone so crazy in the comics, especially around the Hellfire Gala events. But I didn't just want to put any costume she had from there, especially because there's so many different types, almost all of them equally as crazy. So I think a good costume is Sinister Emma. Sinister Emma comes from an alternate timeline from when Mr. Sinister basically took over the world, doing things like taking over the Quiet Council to take over Krakoa, doing things like shrinking Juggernaut and then charging him like a bullet into Thanos' head and just leaving him in space. So fuck him, I guess. Then killing most of the Quiet Council, taking over the resurrection program by tainting it with his DNA, so whenever they were resurrected, they'd have his DNA and become loyal to him, while also maintaining their personalities, which would of course lead to her rebelling against him. I feel like it's a great costume. It's not too tame, which is what works best for Emma, and the add-in piece of that diamond that Sinister has in his head leads back to the lore. Another skin I have is her red diamond form. Taking place in the same timeline, I think a couple thousand years after Sinister's takeover and Emma's rebellion, which would have them expanding mutant power across dimensions. Also her cowgirl outfit too. That's about it for the Vanguards. Please let me know which ideas you'd have for more skins in the comments. I do have the strategies video in the works, which will come out after this one. I do have other types of videos in the works too, so stay tuned. Follow my socials, support my Patreon. Please be kind to yourselves and each other. Thanks for watching.